Welcome to Listen, Learn, Champion. I'm Natasha, and we have some exciting things happening today. We have a guest. Madison's not here. My fiance's here. Hi.
Hello.
This is Will.
Thanks for having me on.
Are you so thrilled?
I'm super excited to be here.
Guys, he's really nervous, so give him lots of love in the comments. We're going to talk about all things like from a guy's point of view, what it's like to date a girl, potentially marry her, past relationships.
How to navigate all that.
All your dirty laundry.
I wouldn't say that.
I'm just kidding. I'm super excited, and you look great.
Thank you.
You rock it.
You look good too.
Thanks.
Thanks for having me.
All right, let's do it. We'll start with an easy question. Why do most guys have a one-track mind?
That's the first question you're gonna ask me.
Because
we're like dogs when they see something out the window. You know, you're sitting there watching the car go by, and then all of a sudden something happens behind them. Change their thoughts immediately. Whatever's happening the fastest, you know, that's what we're looking at.
Yeah,
looking at the next thing. So,
do you think when you've had a one-track mind with me, like us planning the wedding, and you could only do like a task at a time, did it like frustrate you that I couldn't understand?
It was definitely difficult, but because I'm the type of person where I have to focus on one thing at a time, and you know, you're wanting to get everything done at once. But,
yeah. We got most everything done within the first month of engagement.
Yeah, we fast tracked it. We're 4 months out now, and we have basically nothing left to get.
Well, by the time they watch, it'll be March.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we're recording in January, which is crazy. Okay, we'll do another question. This was Felicia's question on my Instagram poll.
Oh, I'm excited for this one.
Why do men put clothes next to the hamper instead of in the hamper?
Felicia, that's a great question. And it's the one that, from a guy's perspective, I honestly don't have a correct answer to. I think it just boils down to just laziness. It's not disrespect, you know. We respect our spouses, but sometimes you just want to, you get out done from a workout, you just want to throw it on the floor and hop in the shower. So,
all right, now are you ready to get into like the nitty gritty?
Let's do it.
We can do like those are laughable.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's get into some serious stuff.
Okay. So what does it mean to you to push your other half closer to Jesus?
I would say for me, it's holding them accountable, and reading the Bible, trying to get in the Word every day, and also, just praying with them and being able to pray over them. Like me and you, we have conversations about like theology and stuff that we like to debate, different opinions we may have. I think that's healthy, and being able to disagree with each other, but you're still, incorporating the Word into your life, and also incorporating your hobbies, your everyday life, and with Jesus. We've talked about before, if we ever lived in South Florida, we would love to, have a scuba diving meet up on Saturdays and have a Bible study after.
Yeah.
Just stuff like that. Being able to incorporate your everyday life with Jesus and doing it together is a great way to, push your other half to Jesus.
Yeah. Something you said is we do debates, and if you ever have a debate with your other half, like you definitely want to do it in a healthy way. We don't ever disagree on theology.
No.
But we oftentimes will argue the world's point of view so that when we come across someone, we kind of know how to navigate their point of view with grace and with love instead of judgment.
Exactly.
So it is healthy. Just make sure you're doing it with love and grace with your partner.
The point when you're debating or having a discussion with your partner is not to say I won. It's to come to an agreement.
Yeah, and we do it more so. I feel like if we ever come across someone that has a really harsh perspective on something we believe, like we already know how to kind of have that conversation.
Could leave the conversations in private.
Yeah, exactly. And it's kind of fun.
It is. It really is.
We'll do the next question. So we're not married, obviously, but what does it mean to you to like lead your wife?
I would say, for me, being able to lead my wife is for you to be the best best version of yourself possible.
Yeah.
And a great verse for that is Ephesians 5:23, which says, "For the husband is the head of the wife, as Christ is the head of the church, his body, of which is the Savior." This kind of ties back into being able to push your other half closer to Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
Being able to pray with your wife is such an intimate yet powerful way to be able to lead your wife. Sometimes you have to step into that leadership role and say, okay, this is what we need to do next.
Yeah.
Let's pray about it. Let me pray over you and see, what God wants us to do next.
Yeah. And having a husband that leads you doesn't mean he picks the restaurants every time, because I never pick the restaurant, but to me, I'm like, but you're leading me because I don't want to pick it.
So then why? When I say, what do you want to eat? I don't care. Chick-fil-A? Nah. So you do have a preference. It happens. Just say, I want this.
Yeah. I think a good example for you too, when you led me well, was when I was trying to navigate, trying to find a job, or if I should go back to school, and you just kind of prayed for me.
I would pray for you, just several times. I would sit there and just pray over you. Ask God, what's the best move for you next, for our relationship, what does he think should happen next? Yeah,
that's great. When did you know that you were capable of leading a wife? Because obviously that comes with maturity and growth and being with someone to know that, hey, I can handle her.
So I knew I was capable of leading a wife well. Before our relationship, I was at peace with myself. Mm-hmm. And, I didn't really have, I wasn't bringing anything into our relationship, like past hurts or anything. Yeah. And, I felt like there was something missing in my life. And, I had been praying, like, Lord, if it's time for me to find, or get in the next relationship, I'm here for like present that to me. Mm-hmm. And, I kind of just met you off the whim, just unexpectedly. Yeah. And, from the night I met you, I say this all the time. I got in the car after our first date and I was like, I'm going to marry this girl. And 6-7 months later, I proposed. But,
well, I told them our entire story.
Oh, okay.
I even told them that we matched twice.
Yeah, that's for another day. But, and, I was looking forward, I was looking for somebody to spend the rest of my life with. Mm. I was ready for that kind of relationship with somebody, and I was ready to lead. And, thank God you walked into my life.
Spoiled. I'm just kidding. Okay, I love this question because I feel like singleness is really important. But when you were single, how did you feel like you prioritized holiness and being in proximity with Christ?
One thing that I love to do when I was single and still like to do often is, I like to run after work. So I would go for a run and then spend the next 20 to 30 minutes after my run just sitting on the beach because I live close to the beach. Mm-hmm. So I would go to the beach after my run and just sit there and journal and pray for 20 to 30 minutes. That was my quiet time in the day. That was like my most peaceful. That's my most peaceful moments of the day. Being able to sit down, and I like to write out how my day went. My internal thoughts, and then just pray about how my day went, where God wants to lead me next, and what tomorrow's going to entail.
Yeah, and it's changed.
It has changed, yeah.
You've been in a relationship.
It has, yeah. I have.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
No, there's nothing wrong with that. That was just, I had a set routine every day when I was single. Yeah,
we talked about it in our singleness episode about how when you're single, you prioritize your alone time with God way more just because you have the free time. Mm-hmm. And it's important to do that because then you have that solid foundation to go into a relationship with someone.
Yeah. I mean, my quiet time looks different now. I still have it, but it's not the same as it was when I was single.
Probably not as long either.
Probably not as long.
But yeah, it's not bad. It just changes.
Oh yeah, exactly. Your seasons change and the way you talk to God changes, but as long as you're getting that time with God. So
yeah. Was there anything that you needed to heal from a past relationship or anything before starting a relationship? And if someone's listening that does potentially need to heal, what would you encourage them to do?
So coming into our relationship, I'm not perfect by no means.
Yeah.
But I can say I really didn't have any past trauma or negative relationship experiences that I had to heal from,
Mm-hmm.
and which I think is pretty rare for today's age.
Yeah.
You know, so I didn't.
Yeah. So a little background about him. You gotta spill the tea, babe. You come from
So I was
two pastors.
So I was born and raised in a Southern Baptist family. So
Yeah.
both of my grandpas are Southern Baptist preachers. My uncle is a Southern Baptist preacher.
It's just all the things.
So it's just like, yeah. So I came from like,
Dad leads a small group.
my dad teaches Sunday school at
Yeah.
a church in my hometown. So I was born and raised in church.
Yeah, he's just spilling the tea over here.
But by no means am I perfect.
No,
you know?
but you had a great example
Yeah, I was.
and a good foundation.
I had a great foundation in my childhood
Yeah.
of what a good relationship with God looks like, a good family relationship, you know, how to treat your significant other in a relationship. So I can, you know, I was blessed in that sense.
Yeah, you either learn what you want or what you don't want.
Exactly. But, you know, if I was going to, you know, encourage someone who, you know, needs healing from a relationship or from, you know, any past hurts, I would say, you know, first and foremost, tell somebody, you know, find someone that you really trust and talk to them and say it out loud. I think it can be a great weight off your shoulders when you actually say it out loud, like, you know, what you're going through, and be able to, you know, just speak to somebody and so that they can give you comfort and feedback and help you to overcome that hurt, you know.
Yeah, definitely. I think too, like, just from watching you, and because we met shortly after you moved here, so you didn't have too many friends here, and then you went to the men's group at our church, and then everyone got a texting partner, and Trevor did good picking your texting partner. Like, it was actually so funny because he gave you Jeremiah. And then his girlfriend, Kenna, I would always see them at church, and I always thought she was so pretty. And I was like, I want to be their friends.
Now fiance, not girlfriend.
I know. Now they're engaged. But at the time, they were dating like we were. And so then we're at church, and he goes, oh, that's my texting partner. And I was like, oh, it's over now. Like, they're ours. Like, we're stealing them. And I feel like just watching you and Jeremiah's friendship, I feel like you both have leaned on each other.
Oh, 100%.
And like, he's opened up to you, you've opened up to him, and you guys have been able to like talk through and trust each other with those things.
You know, we've both, you know, we've gone through similar things in the past few months, the past seasons of our life. And, you know, just being able to have him there to talk to, you know, for someone that's going through the same thing as me, it's, you know, it's been extremely helpful and comforting to me.
And you guys have the same hobbies. I mean, truly, like, if you're really in a season of like, you feel really alone, like, you have to get plugged in, because you'll be surprised who comes your way. And it's really important to have people in your corner, because you need to talk about it. Like you said, you gotta.
Exactly. When you say it out loud, it can, you know, it can really feel like just a weight off your chest, your shoulders.
Yeah. The enemy wants you to keep things in the dark, because obviously it's just going to make you hurt more instead of bringing it into the light. So that
I had a great verse for this, and it's James 5:16, which says, therefore confess your sins to one another and pray for one another that you may be healed. The prayer of a righteous person has great power as it is working. You know, so don't ever underestimate the power of prayer and what it can do for your friendship or for healing. Yeah,
that's great. What were you looking for in a wife? Did you have like a list?
Let's see. Not necessarily like before I met you. Did I have like a checklist? No, not really.
I did.
Oh, did you? Well, I guess.
Do you know what the number one thing was?
I would love to hear.
Patience.
Well, I think
you have a lot of.
I have a lot of patience,
which was pretty fun.
So I'd say you definitely lucked out.
I did.
No, but for me, I mean, patience is a good thing, yes. But for me, the number one thing I was really looking for was, you know, finding someone who I was equally yoked. You know, just finding somebody that was in the same level of faith as I was. You know, but again, like I said, I'm not perfect. And, you know, when I was younger, I dated people outside the faith. Yeah. And, you know, as I got stronger in my faith through college in my early 20s, you know, I learned the importance of, you know, finding a spouse that's a believer. And, you know, it's a beautiful thing that can happen when two people come together in Christ, and you can see, you know, the fruitations of, you know, two people doing God's plan for them together.
Yeah.
And all the things that they can accomplish. I think even though we're not married yet, I think we're still seeing, how that can happen, and the fruition of, two people coming together in Christ, and just what can happen when you do that. Yeah.
I think because you touched on college and all of that, like whatever you do in college, don't let it hold you back. Like,
exactly.
Yeah. If you find someone that maybe didn't make the same mistakes as you or whatever, like make sure you guys just talk it out. Because you don't want to leave anything in the dark. You want everything out.
And we were very intentional when we first started dating, about what we wanted and, where we were at in life.
Yeah.
And I think that helped us tremendously have hard conversations up front we didn't have to wait, 6 months to have.
Yeah. There was a book that we read together that they were like, the more things you keep in the closet, the more arguments you'll probably have in the future. Mm-hmm. And so you really can't have any secrets in your closet. You got to put everything out there.
The good, the bad, the ugly, it doesn't matter. If that's your person, they're going to understand, and you can be able to talk that out with them.
And if you're trying to like be, have wisdom in your relationship and how to navigate that, I think, if they come from a past of drinking or sex outside of marriage, like just making sure that, he's not doing that anymore, she's not doing that anymore, and like pursuing you and whatever your relationship means, whether it's, you're not drinking, you're not going out, you're not having sex outside of marriage. So just keeping that in the forefront and being honest with each other, because if you don't, it's just going to be really hard.
Yeah. It can save you a lot of hurt down the road.
Yeah.
Just being upfront like that.
Y'all, there's so many questions. I forget where we were.
I think we had 16 total.
I asked, what were you looking for in a wife, right? We just did that.
Yeah, you just asked me that.
Okay. How did you know the person you met was what you were looking for, and was it immediate that you knew, or did it take time? Just spill the tea, babe. Just tell them how we met. And
I said earlier our first date, we went downtown St. Augustine, had dinner, walked on it was the end of November, right before Thanksgiving. So all the lights were up. It was pretty picturesque. So we went and had dinner.
Out of a Hallmark movie.
It was out of a Hallmark movie. But we sat and talked after our date, and we just sat on a bench and laughed for an hour or two. And then I got in the car, and I'm not lying when I say this. I said to myself, I was like, I'm going to marry this girl. So I knew right away.
Yeah. Didn't you call your mom and tell her that too?
No, I didn't call my mom.
Oh, that's right. That's what you said.
I told her I went on a date. I didn't tell her that though.
Oh.
So, but no, I knew right away, but that doesn't mean, everybody's going to know right away when you find your person, and obviously after that, in the flesh, I feel like I knew.
Yeah.
And so I prayed about it. The whole time we were dating, I was praying, for, God to lead me down the right path. And if this was who I was supposed to be with, then, show us the way and keep us together. And,
yeah.
So, like I said, don't set those expectations for yourself that you have to know it right away.
Yeah.
I knew, but
you're such a turd.
But what besides that,
yeah, what kind of things were you looking for?
Like we had, we on our first date, we kind of sat down and said what our goals were. We had similar career goals. We wanted to travel. We wanted to be involved in the church together. We were both, brought up in the faith, and we were both Christian. So, I said I didn't have a checklist, but I guess mentally now I'm thinking about it, I did kind of have a checklist. But so I guess you kind of hit my imaginary checklist.
Yeah, but it was cool too, because there was things that neither of us thought we would find in each other, but we did.
Exactly.
Like, I don't think you ever thought you'd find someone that loves the ocean as much as you.
No, I was convinced that I was the only person in the world that loved the ocean as much as I do. But I have found someone who may love it just as, if not more, than I do. Yeah, we talked about scuba diving. We both love to scuba dive.
Yeah, we brought that up on our first date.
Yeah, I was like, oh, wow, you like to scuba dive? So that was
whoever's watching this anywhere, like in Florida, I feel like most scuba divers are so like antisocial and like...
Yeah, they're all...
awkward.
Not to be rude, they're kind of a bunch of weirdos.
Yeah, so it was kind of cool that you weren't weird.
Thank you.
Oh, geez. Did you feel as though you learned? Oh, wait, sorry, guys. We asked that.
You did ask me that.
There's a lot, you guys. I'm sorry. Okay. In Matthew 19:5-6, it says, "Therefore a man shall leave his father and his mother and hold fast to his wife, and the two shall become one flesh. So they are no longer two, but one flesh. What therefore God has joined together, let not man separate." What does that mean to you getting ready to become a husband and creating a life with your soon-to-be wife?
It's a good question.
Yeah.
It's a good verse as well. To me, this verse highlights, the importance of becoming one with your partner.
Mm-hmm.
And then for me, it was like a reminder of I have to flip my mindset.
Mm-hmm.
It's no longer when I make decisions that it's just me that's affecting.
Mm-hmm.
It's now affecting both of us in our future. And there's also a comfort factor there. Knowing that I also have someone else with me beside me now to help me make those decisions. But I think, the verse overall is just, for me, it really struck out in saying that, now it's not just me, it's both of us.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to be able to lead both of us, and drop that selfish mindset.
Yeah. And if you read that and you don't feel that way and you're like, oh, well, it means boundaries with family.
Exactly. Yeah. There's many.
Yeah. And you can have conversations with your partner about like what boundaries you personally feel you need to make with your family, because everyone is different. Every situation is different regarding where you live to your in-laws. Like it's all different. So having those healthy conversations behind closed doors, you don't need to do it. Don't do it with your family. I think is really important.
Yeah. Being able to setting boundaries with your family is like one of the first conversations you should have, because, you don't want to,
at least before you get married.
Yeah, like before you get married. Yeah. You don't want to prioritize one side or the other.
Yeah.
You have equalness there.
Yeah, we came from different backgrounds of a family, so that was kind of hard to navigate. Mm-hmm. I think more for me than it was for you.
Yeah, just because I come from a fairly large family.
Yeah.
Her family is very small. So she's not used to being around, so many people at one time.
Yeah. And too, like, you guys spend every holiday together. You have traditions, and it's just my mom and I, we kind of just do whatever. Mm-hmm. So us navigating, okay, what will that look like for our family? Do we switch off every year? Do we just do one holiday? Like, so having those conversations before you get married is really important.
Yeah.
And if you go to premarital counseling, you can have that conversation with them and kind of allow them to give you their opinion, maybe not so much their opinion, but just an example of what they did for their life, too. And what we do now might change when we have kids. Like, we don't know, but what we have now works. So
it does.
In 1 Timothy 6:11, it says, "But you, man of God, flee from all this and pursue righteousness, godliness, faith, love, endurance, and gentleness." What does that mean to you and your future family?
For me, that's kind of like a layout of how I want to lead my future family. I think those are all, attributes that I want to reflect in my life. When you're the head of the house, people are looking to you for direction and guidance.
Yeah.
And I think that this verse, those attributes laid out, righteousness, godliness, love, endurance, gentleness, those are all great things that you can take to heart. Yeah. And use in your household to lead not just your wife or your kids or your whole family. Yeah. That's a great foundation to have. That verse.
Yeah. When you met me, what was your biggest fear? And now I'm just throwing stuff at him.
Wow, that's a tough one.
Yeah, it can be anything. We are totally transparent on this podcast, because if we make any mistakes or we do anything, we want you guys to learn from us.
Exactly.
So what was your biggest fear? I'm a lot.
That I guess I was afraid that I wouldn't have the patience, or I didn't know, how your, trying to think of the word, like how your behavior, how you handle stress, or how you handle triggers, like stuff, like how you handle distress, stuff like that. And, learning how to navigate that. 'Cause,
Yeah.
You know, when you're first first meeting someone, and you know, you're learning all about their past and stuff. You know, it's a lot to take in, and you don't know how people are going to react to certain stuff happening. So, you know, learning to navigate you and your triggers, and you know how you react to things.
And listen, I did a lot of healing. I did a lot of self-awareness. I figured out kind of what my triggers were, and I was able to communicate that with you.
Yeah, which was a big help, you know.
Yeah, and I'm not going to sit here and know that I know all my triggers, because that's just not true, but I knew big ones, like this really triggers me, this overwhelms me, this overstimulates me. But I think honestly, we're still figuring out like how we respond, because
it's an everyday thing.
Every day. It's just different. There's different moods. There's different settings.
There's like challenges that come our way every day. You know, and we talked about this in the last episode. Sometimes your love cup is totally empty, so you really need him to like overfill you, and then vice versa. The days I'm feeling down, you know, you can pick up the slack.
Yeah, so it's definitely like not one size fits all, but definitely knowing big pictures, so that when things happen, you kind of have an idea of how to navigate it is really important. So if you're someone like me that does come from like trauma, really figure out what your triggers are, what, you know, pushes you, what hurts you, and how he can help you. I think when we had that conversation, it was really helpful
100%
for our relationship.
And it gave me insight to, okay, let's say you do, you know, blow up one day. You're not necessarily blowing up at me, but it's just coming from a place of hurt, and that you're not trying to project that onto me. It's a reaction, and you know, knowing how to respond to that. It's been very helpful.
All right. So I love this question. I did like an Instagram poll on my Instagram, and people like sent in questions, and someone sent in, what is the hardest part about pursuing a girl?
Hardest part about pursuing a girl.
I know we're difficult.
I wouldn't say that. It's just trying not. You don't have to change who you are to find a girl. You know, if you think you found someone that you potentially want to go after, you don't have to change or mimic your personality to what you think they're gonna like. You know, be yourself. Good. You know, because at the end of the day, you're not going to find your wife by trying to be something that you're not.
Yeah. And if you put on a persona of what you
eventually,
it's
like, you know, they're going to see through the mask. You know, you can't keep that persona up forever. So I would say, you know, it's tough. It can be tough because, I mean, you don't know this person. You may think that they like a certain way or a certain type of guy. Yeah. But, you know, at the end of the day, you know, all you can do is be yourself, and it's scary. Yeah. And it's, you know, you're putting yourself out there, but it's healthy, and that's, you know, it can be tough, but you know, it's gotta be done, especially to find your wife. So
yeah. I had a question and it totally just blanked. Oh, you know how people like say, guys like a chase. They want the girl to kind of like, you know, like not pour it all in at once.
Yeah, like, you know, it's kind of like, I know.
Do you get what I'm trying to say?
I know what you're saying.
So like, how would you, like, when would you say like enough is enough for a girl to like stop playing hard to get?
You know, I think at first people are going to have boundaries, or they're going to have walls set, you know, of, okay, I'm not going to let them see this side of me. Or from a guy's perspective, I'm not going to, you know, pour my heart out to her, you know, after a week of seeing each other. But I think, you know, once you both establish a comfort level with each other, and, you know, and start setting out like intentionalities of what you want, then I think it's time to, you know, drop the barriers or drop the walls, you know, a little bit at least. You don't have to do it all at once, but, you know, don't mislead people. You know?
And once you've gotten into that relationship, and as you're finding out new things about them and maybe their past, you can't hold it over their head. No, you need to love them and appreciate them, laugh about it, joke about it. I mean, it's their past and they're opening up.
It's not your relationship with each other. That's the past. And, you know, they may be confiding in you to find healing from that.
Mm-hmm.
So being open and willing to, help them work through that.
Mm-hmm. I was probably like the weirdest girlfriend ever. I wanted to know all the juicy details from your past. I'm like, give it to me. I loved it.
Because I was like, I don't.
But I loved it because I saw so much growth and maturity in him from who he was in high school versus now.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like so proud. And I was like, oh, wow, no wonder you're so patient. Like,
you've always joked, if we knew each other in high school, we wouldn't have dated each other.
Yeah, no. But it is. And it's so true because I love seeing how much you've matured and you've grown because you have a more intimate relationship with the Lord, but you've just matured.
Yeah.
It's so funny because probably like we started officially dating in January, and then we went to Fort Lauderdale to meet his parents because his dad had a conference there. And then we went to Tampa for him to meet my best friend. And I was fidgeting in his car and I found a ring box from his ex-girlfriend. And I wasn't even mad, y'all.
It was not a proposal ring.
No. It was like a promise ring thing. Yeah. And I remember I was like, all right, I'm going to act really mad just to mess with him.
Oh, I got like flustered. Like,
and
face turned red. I was like, no, that's not that. And then like a week later, I was like, yeah, it's a promise ring.
And I was like, you're such a liar. I know exactly what it is. And I was like, this is hilarious. Yeah. But like from a girl's perspective, like joke about it with him and make him feel like, dude, I don't care.
Yeah, see, I thought she was going to be mad about it.
No.
But, I should just been up front at first and she thought it was hilarious.
I thought it was the funniest thing ever.
Wow.
And then I was like, okay, throw it away.
Yeah, looking back, it's funny.
Okay, let's go on to the next question.
Okay.
I know you didn't really have an answer for this, but I feel like we could kind of talk it out. How do you think a girl can make it easier to like pursue if they're trying to be intentional? Don't ghost.
Yeah, don't ghost. It's just rude. Don't do that.
Yeah.
But
I even look back on like people I dated that I knew I didn't even want to be with. I wish I didn't ghost them.
Mm-hmm.
Like I wish I would have just said, hey, I'm really sorry, this isn't what I want.
Yeah, I mean, I've ghosted people
Yeah.
plenty of times and with no explanation.
Yeah.
It's not the right thing to do, but sometimes you're kind of scared to tell people the truth.
Yeah.
Of why you don't want to pursue them.
Mm-hmm. Have those awkward conversations.
Yeah, it's looking back, it's better to have those awkward conversations because people are left wondering, is it me? Or like, what's wrong with me?
Yeah.
So that can save other people a lot of hurt.
Mm-hmm. And they won't bring that into their next relationship.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But
is there anything else that you think girls can make it easier?
Just, I mean, like on our first date, you don't have to be so intentional to the point to where like,
yeah, you don't have to spill your entire gut.
No. But like, share enough about yourself,
mm-hmm.
That you're not, just so surface level. It's okay to open up a little bit,
Yeah, I definitely wasn't like, here's all my baggage.
Oh, exactly. There's levels to it.
Yeah.
But at first, you don't have to put on, this armor to where like, I'm not telling this person anything about me. It's okay to open up and, be at least a little bit vulnerable or, share your interests, your hobbies.
Yeah. I think that's all we talked about our entire date.
It was like what we like to do.
And then you ate canned soup and I laughed at you.
Yeah. She thinks it's so funny that I eat canned soup for dinner.
You don't do it anymore.
Not anymore. But single Will would eat Progresso 5 nights a week.
Listen, that's disgusting. All right. What do you wish girls knew or understood better about guys?
That's a tough one. I
think most guys truly do have a one-track mind. It gets really hard for you guys to handle multiple tasks at once.
That's a fair statement.
Yeah, and I think us girls don't understand it, and then we get mad.
Yeah.
Because we're like, it's not that hard, but it's because we have, we can do a million things at once.
And I think, just thinking about our relationship, we may show affection in other ways that women don't perceive us as showing affection.
Yeah.
So, that's another point of being, open with each other.
Yeah.
And, figuring out, what your love languages are.
Yeah, we figured that out fast.
Yeah. And that can, and it's like, you may be trying to, please a girl in a way that she doesn't want to be, pleased.
Which ours are pretty similar.
Yeah.
Which helps. But I think like last week, I think this is a good example. Like last week I was feeling like just really insecure, and he was like, well, you look pretty. And I'm like, that's not good enough. Like, I need you to tell me I'm beautiful and that I'm like the most gorgeous girl in the world. Like, and I need you to do it every day. I'm not words of affirmation, like ever. But like, I kind of have needed it in this season, but he can't read my mind. Like, I have to communicate that with him. So if you're like me and you just feel like there was a shift in your life, like just communicate that with him and say, it's not him not loving you. It's just, he's not realizing he isn't loving you in the love language that you need.
Yeah. I mean, because when we first started dating, we sat down and talked about our love languages, and she never told me that, or she said words of affirmation was not really a high priority on her list.
Yeah.
And so, as we've grown together, I just haven't, really expressed that much.
Yeah.
But in this, like you said, in this season, you're really needing those words of affirmation. So being able to tell me that's what you want and that's what you're craving, it helps me to.
I said it while I'm sobbing, and we got in like a fight, and he's like, what is happening?
I was just trying to tell you you're pretty.
We were going to dinner or something. I'm like, is that good enough? Okay. I feel like this. Okay. So this was another question on my Instagram that I feel like this comes with her, and like, not everyone experiences this, but let's talk about it.
Okay.
Why do men cheat?
I think cheating is brought on by a few things. One being temptation. They get caught up. They get caught up in the moment. They're mesmerized by somebody else. They might be going through like a mundane period in their relationship, and they see a girl at gym class or whatever it could be. They just see another girl and they're like, okay, like, well, maybe like we'll just flirt, or we'll just one date, one hangout. It turns into something else, and then and it all boils down to selfishness. They think that, okay, well, if I just go out with her one time, it's going to satisfy that temptation. And then, but I still have my fiance, my wife, my girlfriend on the side.
Yeah, that's good.
And I wrote this verse down, James 1:13 through 15. It says, when tempted, no one should say, God is tempting me. For God cannot be tempted by evil, nor does he tempt anyone. But each person is tempted when they are dragged away by their own evil desire and enticed. Then after desire, God has conceived, it gives birth to sin, and sin, when it is full grown, gives birth to death. So, it's
what is that verse again?
It's James 1:13 through 15.
That's good.
So, it's when you're going through those, mundane periods, you have to, keep your focus, find new ways to love your partner.
Yeah.
Don't give in to the outside pressure or thinking that there's something better out there. If you truly are going through, a bad experience in a relationship, it's okay
to seek counsel.
Or, if you're just dating, have a conversation. Is this working?
Yeah.
But, cheating is not the answer.
Yeah.
Because you're just going to cause, it's temporary relief or temporary satisfaction for long-term hurt.
Yeah, that's good.
And then also on top of, well, go ahead. Are you going to say something?
No, you finish and then I'll ask.
I was going to say on top of, temptation, it's kind of like I said, boredom. You get bored in your relationship and you seek something else out. But I wrote this down. I said, God does not get bored with his relationship with you and push you to the side. So why would you do that to your significant other?
Mic drop.
Mic drop.
That's really good.
Why would you give up on your partner so easily when
God literally leaves the 99 for the one.
Exactly.
So
and
you actively, I think I heard this in a book that was like, love is a choice. Every day you wake up to choose to love your husband.
Yeah, I mean,
not every day you have to do that.
No.
But some days, like, I've married this person. Today is hard.
Not easy.
I still love them.
Exactly. Like you said, choosing every day.
Yeah.
To say, okay, I may be pissed off at you one day, but I'm still going to choose to love you because I know, that down the road, what we have is unbreakable, and be able to see it flourish is much better than just giving up because of one angry day.
Yeah. I was going to say, another thing too, like on that topic of like getting bored and stuff, we've talked about this from a sermon I watched. You know, he gives the teeter-totter thing. I talked about it in our last 2 episodes ago, that if you're constantly trying to outserve your partner, you should never get bored. Mm-hmm. Like if we're trying to outserve the other person, like, okay, she made dinner, I'll make breakfast, or she made dinner, I'll clean the dishes, or she likes handwritten notes, let me write her a handwritten note. He likes when I don't know, massage his feet or something. I don't know. Like you're just always trying to outserve the other person so that they don't feel like they've been forgotten.
Exactly. Yeah. And, you know, just finding new ways, like I said, to love each other.
Yeah.
You know, you can try to treat it as like a game almost.
Yeah. Well, like we don't like going out to dinner anymore because I don't know, it's expensive, one, and I'm a good cook. So now we're into board games.
Yeah. We've been playing a lot of Yahtzee.
But it's fun. And I'm a sore loser in Monopoly.
Oh, she got so mad.
I quit.
She didn't know that you could purchase.
I didn't understand.
Property and stuff.
And so he was buying all the property and was kicking my butt, man. I was sore loser. We play tennis together. Yeah. We walk on the beach together. Just different things.
Walk the dog together.
Yeah. Don't get complacent.
Exactly. You know, find new things to do with each other.
Yeah. You don't have to spend money to go on a date all the time. So kind of tying into why do men cheat? Do you think emotionally cheating on someone is the same? Like having an emotional relationship with another girl, the same as cheating?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because God knows your heart and your intentions.
That's good.
And just because it's not reflected on the outside doesn't mean it's not reflected on the inside.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, it may start as emotional cheating. And if you keep letting it build up and fluster inside of yourself, it's going to eventually come on the outside.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And just because he works with a bunch of girls doesn't mean he's going to cheat on you. His entire work
team, it's
women.
I'm the only male on my team.
Yeah. So like when he went to the work conference, they were like, well, how'd you meet your fiance? And they all were like, oh, like they loved him. They were like eating it up. But it's funny because one of his coworkers was at his old company and her and I are like super close. Like we text all the time. Mm-hmm. And I had one friend like, why do you like, that's weird. I'm like, no, I love her. Like she's so sweet. Like it don't bother me at all. Yeah, she's engaged. Yeah, so she's engaged too. I was like, healthy boundaries, y'all.
Exactly.
Is there anything else you feel like we should cover?
I know you originally were going to ask me, you know, how does God affect your everyday life?
Yeah.
I actually had a lot written down for that.
Yeah, let's do it.
You know, it gives me a peace of mind every day knowing that I have a God that cares for me so much and he won't turn his back on me. Mm-hmm. You know, I struggle with anxiety a lot and, you know, so I'll be just laying in bed at night, you know, just tossing and turning for an hour or two, just mind going through, you know, what I said. Did I say the right thing at work? You know, did I handle the situation correctly? Mm-hmm. You know, things that I can't even control. And I wrote down Matthew 6:34. It says, therefore, do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself. Each day has enough trouble of its own. Mm-hmm. And that verse has really spoken to me, you know, just why am I sitting here worrying? You know,
yeah,
God's got me, you know, he's going to, I know that if I give my time to him, he's going to do the same for me. Mm-hmm. So why am I, you know, sitting here just worrying and being able to console in the Lord and, you know, just bring it before him and say, you know, you know, I'm struggling here, you know, don't be afraid, you know, just I'm struggling, you know, help me to, you know, take the right steps to overcome this anxiety.
Yeah. And you don't always have to talk to your significant other about it either. Like you can find mentors or friends and talk it out, because I feel like sometimes your closest person knows you a little bit too much, so that I feel like they may not console you the way you need.
That, or they may, I'm trying to say this the right way, they may say things that make you feel comfortable, but not what you want to hear per se. Yeah. You may need to have a switch of routine. Yeah. You know, one thing that's really helped me overcome anxiety a lot is exercise or changing my scenery. You know, when I like to run after work every day, and I like to switch up the path that I run, every month or so, because I get bored of that path.
Yeah.
So breaking your habits and, switching your routine.
Don't get comfortable in the comfortable.
Exactly. Yeah. The other verse I wrote was Psalm 94:19. When anxiety was great within me, your consolation brought me joy. A lot of times when I've been running, I'll be praying while I run, and I can just like feel, the peace within me like grow. And, I can just feel myself like come to terms and be like, okay, like you don't have to worry so much. God's got me. I can handle this.
Yeah, that's great. Well, I feel like we kind of covered a lot.
We did. Yeah.
I'm so proud of you. I knew you were nervous.
The nerves wore down as the episode went on.
Y'all, should we bring him back?
Drop in the comments.
Look at you getting the hang of it. I'm so proud. Well, I hope you guys loved this episode from a man's point of view.
I hope I could provide some helpful insight from a man's perspective.
Oh, well, this is the end of our love season, and we will be diving into Acts in the following week. So stay tuned for that and give us a thumbs up and follow. Bye.